I've thought of 7 different ways that we could bring Wash back that I think would make at least enough sense to include in the show. So here we go.
Any J-Man in the spotlight gleam, talking magic worlds and Marvel dreams, through the Potter doors to the Disney core, theory spinning tales forevermore.
So I don't know about all of you, but I'm really excited for the possibility of Firefly to be returning to TV once again. It's been over 20 years, and I'm still just as excited for this possibility as when Firefly the TV show and Serenity, the subsequent movie, came out. But there's a bit of a problem with the TV show deciding to come back now after all these years. For one thing, the cast and crew are much older, but for another thing, 2 members of the crew died in the movie Serenity. One is Shepherd Book and the other is Wash the pilot. So they need to either find a way to bring them back or carry on without them. Well, Shepherd Book, I feel like they can carry on without them and the crew can mostly still continue on. The thing is, Wash, or more specifically Alan Tudyk, who plays Wash, is a big part of bringing the show back. So I kind of feel like he has to be included. But his character died, so how do we include him? Well, that's what I'm talking about today.
Wait, Wash! Where's Wash?
Option 1, the prequel. So this, I think, is where they are choosing to go with the show. At least from the rumors I've seen, it seems like this is the route they are taking. And that is that this new season will take place before the movie Serenity. Well, that kind of makes it simple in that then they could say that both those crew members are still around because they had not died in the movie yet. I feel like it's a little sad to see this happen because so much growth happened in the movie. It also kind of complicates things because a lot was explained in the movie as well. And are we to just pretend we don't know that? Or are we to assume that that didn't actually happen yet? Knowing the background that we get explained in the movie, but not being able to have that be known by the crew or kind of by us at the time of this season, that gets a little complicated. Now they can still carry on without Shepherd Book and just saying that he's already at the Abbey, because in the movie, it starts off with him having left the ship to live at the Abbey for a while. So they could say that it's after he left for the Abbey, but before the movie Serenity. Even though the movie Serenity doesn't take place that long after the events of the first season. But it still sounds like this is a possibility and one that they are going with.
Of course, there are other schools of thought.
Option 2, the nuclear option. Just retcon the movie. And I'm hearing some rumors now that they might do this as well. Basically, the idea here, as we can tell, is to just say, yeah, the movie, it never actually happened. Maybe we could say it was just some strange hallucination of Reavers.
I get confused.
But whatever reason they give, the movie now does not happen. Well, that kind of complicates things a little bit too, because does it mean that the movie is not going to happen? Like, we get explanations as to why River is the way that River is. We get explanations as to how the Reavers came to be. Is that still the history? Is that still the lore? Or are we rewriting it completely? Are we rewriting the history that got explained to us in the movie as well? I don't know which route they'll go with that if they do choose to just completely retcon the movie. But it is an option. They could decide that the movie just doesn't align with the direction they want to go with reviving this show. And so now Serenity is just a dream that never happened.
Wacky fun.
Okay. So with those 2 out of the way, now we're getting to the really interesting ideas. Possibility number 3 is what I'm going to call Wash GPT. And the idea here is that Wash is essentially a new AI embedded within the ship Serenity.
What?
All right, so picture this. This would take place after the movie. So the movie takes place, and up until this point, the crew has kind of decided to skirt around the outsides of the core planets. They've tended to be more towards the rim. Well, the thing about this universe is it's very divergent in respects to the technology that exists. There are those out on the rim who have very little technology, kind of that Western feel. And then we have those core planets that have really good technology. They have top of the line hospitals. They just everything you need. And in some regards, they have some technologies that are a little bizarre, a little more futuristic. So we got that whole spectrum existing. And the Serenity, for the most part, has been more on the low tech side, ignoring the fact that they are literally flying in a spaceship.
Live in a spaceship, dear.
So?
Ignoring that, they've been more low tech. But now, after the events of Serenity, if they do continue with it, the crew's a little more wanted. And so they need to adjust. They need to improve their technology to make sure that they're in the best shape to be able to outrun whoever they run into. And so they install an AI system, a new state-of-the-art AI system into Serenity to help them with navigation and planning and directing and monitoring. But here's the way I envision this. So Kaylee installs this AI system, but they got scammed or something, as they typically do tend to get tricked by other people in these shows. And it's clunky, it's hard to understand, it sounds like a toaster spitting on burnt toast. It is not working properly. So they finally throw their hands up and they let River do her thing. Now River is kind of crazy, but she's also brilliant. And so she starts digging into the code and she learns how to adjust this and she fixes the AI. Well, now it's functioning properly, it works, and the crew can continue on and use this new tool, except River knows that this is supposed to be a navigation tool. And so she sets it up to mirror the only navigator she ever knew, Wash. And so now this AI is coming through with a distinctly Wash accent. It's cracking jokes. It's got that same dry humor. And the crew now is hearing Wash literally within the ship.
What can it be? We're all doomed. Who's flying this thing? Oh, right, that would be me.
Okay, option 4 is kind of the more soap opera style, and it would be the long lost brother. All right, so the way I envision this is that Wash actually did die, and the crew is now mourning his loss and carrying on without him. And 20 years later, they pick up a signal. And they discover that Wash's brother, who Wash did not get along with, they had a falling out, so that's why he never spoke of him. But Wash's long-lost brother is in some trouble. And after so much debate, they decide to go to his rescue. And when they find him, it's essentially Wash with a mustache. It could just be someone who looks very much like Wash, but it isn't. It's his brother. And so they end up rescuing him. He joins the crew because he doesn't know where else to go. He's on the run from who knows what. And he's now part of the crew as well. They are now stuck with the decision of trying to figure out, okay, what do we do with this new Wash? Maybe we could call him Wash because the Wash came from Washburn, his last name, but I'm sure they'll come up with something different. Maybe they call him Dry. I don't know. But so now this new Wash is on the crew, and they're trying to figure out what role he's going to play. He can't be the pilot because River seems to have taken over that job. But whatever it is, they now have this non-Wash joining them. And I think there's a lot of fun directions they can go with that. Jokes like maybe Zoe hates him. And it'd be kind of funny seeing Zoe go from Wash's wife to this new Wash and just completely despising him.
Well said. Wasn't that well said, Zoe?
Had a kind of poetry to it, sir.
Okay, option 5 would be Cyborg Wash. So when Wash dies on the ship from that Reaver attack, the crew has to quickly abandon ship. They all flee to fight off the Reavers outside. But when all's said and done, we don't see what actually happens to the ship. The Alliance flies in and then things proceed on. And then we see this funeral scene where they're saying goodbye to Wash. But maybe they could never get to the body again with all that was going on. But maybe the Alliance got to him instead. And maybe, just maybe, even though it looked very fatal, maybe it wasn't. Maybe they got to him and he's still clinging on life. And them with their higher scientific, their more substantial technology, they managed to keep him alive just long enough to get to surgery. And now, it would definitely still be fatal in normal circumstances. But this is the core planets who could decide to experiment with new tech. It would not be the first time we know that they would choose to do experimenting on people. So this new guy, Wash, that they've managed to rescue, he's now in there. He doesn't have any known family. The friends he has all think he's dead. This is the core's chance to experiment. So they put brand new technology into his abdomen, and they manage to somehow keep him alive. And the result is Cyborg Wash. New tech inside that he doesn't quite fully grasp.
That's a fun mix.
Somehow he escapes, he joins the crew once again, and maybe there could be some funny scenes about him being half machine, half man. Maybe there could be a situation where, since he's mostly robotic now, when they go on missions, he just dies every time. And they need to keep just rebooting him to get him back. The core plan is to bring him in, do this surgery on him, and bring him back as this weird machine, this clunky machine. That could be a funny way to add to the crew as well. Okay, option 6 is simultaneously my favorite, but also my least favorite. And I think that's going to be clear in just a moment. So this idea would be Reaver Wash. Okay, so we just talked about what would happen if he wasn't quite dead, but the core planets managed to rescue him and turn him into a cyborg. Well, let's take it a different direction. What if the Reavers are the one to rescue Wash? In this circumstance, the Reavers managed to get to him before he's quite fully dead. And we know the Reavers have their own kind of weird science, their own way of doing things. They can survive things that most people should not be able to survive. We know that they don't have shields on their ships to protect from radioactivity, and yet the Reavers continue on, always pushing further and further. Somehow they have a technology to continue living when realistically you shouldn't. So if they got to Wash and they use some of that technology on him, we know for the episode Bushwhacked in season 1 of Firefly that Reavers can actually turn others into Reavers. And so in this circumstance, they could take Wash's broken body and turn him into a new Reaver.
Mine is an evil laugh. Now die!
And in this circumstance, the crew could be going off on adventures, thinking Wash is dead, having mourned him and moved on. And then all of a sudden, this Reaver ship just pops out of nowhere and is chasing them, and they manage to get away. And then it pops up again, and it chases them, and they manage to get away. And this one ship just keeps popping up and keeps going after them. Until one time when they are fleeing from the ship, and this new Reaver ship manages to pull a crazy Ivan, and they do a double take. They do scanners of some sort, and they manage to identify that their captain, the captain of this Reaver ship, maybe the pilot at least, is none other than Wash, their long lost and long dead friend. In this circumstance, this whole scene could change from a flight trying to survive to a rescue, where they try and get Wash from this Reaver ship.
So no more running. I aim to misbehave.
It brings up the question of, can you heal a Reaver? Can you change them back to being a normal human? Well, from what we know of the show, no. But if only we had some brilliant scientists on board who could work on the problem. Oh wait, they do.
What do you mean?
So this is one possibility, is that we now have Reaver Wash to deal with. And option 7 would be the imaginary friend Wash. And in this one, they would not bring Wash back. He is dead. He doesn't come back as a cyborg. He doesn't come back as a Reaver. But he does come back in River's mind.
I'm confused.
So we see at the end of the movie that with Wash gone, Mal plans to be the pilot to fly the ship. But then River walks in, and in her brilliance, she manages to take hold of the ship, and she can fly it. And it seems like she's taking over the role of the pilot of the ship. It's a role that she can definitely handle with her brilliance. And with her lack of inhibitions, she could dodge out of the way and maneuver that ship however she needs to. She could see the world in all of its angles and maneuver it as she needs. She is the pilot of the ship. But she's still a little off. Mentally, she still deals with so many different things, and flying a ship is not just knowing the technicalities. It's not just knowing what to do. It's being able to sense how to move, to see how things are going around you, and to ride along with the ship, to become a leaf on the wind.
I'm a leaf on the wind. Watch how I soar.
And so maybe in her mental state that she's in, she brings forth this imaginary friend to help her along in her journey to becoming the ship's pilot. And that imaginary friend is Wash. We see River sitting in the seat, flying the ship. And she's talking to herself like she constantly does before, and nobody thinks anything different of it. The crew just sees this as normal River being River, just talking to herself, just part of who she is. But then we, the audience, see the seat next to her is filled by the ghost of Wash, this imaginary friend constructed by her mind in order to guide her in her new path as the ship's pilot. A sentimental send-off to Wash that allows Alan Tudyk to remain a part of the crew in a way without diminishing the sacrifice he made in the movie Serenity. So what do you think? Those were the 7 possibilities that I thought of, but I'm sure there are so many other ways they could have gone about this. So let me know in the comments, is there another way we could bring Wash back, given all that's happened? Let me know your ideas. I would love to hear what you have in mind. And I look forward to seeing this show take place, and I hope you do too, and I hope they do a great job with it. They're planning to make this an animated continuation of the first Firefly show. And although I love seeing them in person, I love animated material as well, so we'll see how this comes out. But I hope you enjoyed these 7 possible ways to bring Wash back. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay shiny.